What movie do you get if you combine Naruto, Rocket Raccoon, and Horton Hears a Who? I'm Seth, and it's day 37 of the Ticket Stub Movie Club. Today's movie, Yes Man. This one's directed by Peyton Reed of the Ant-Man movies, so he's going to be back on this list a couple times, and stars Jim Carrey, Zooey Deschanel, and Bradley Cooper. This is a who's who of incredible voice acting talent. In a single scene, you can find all three of those people that I listed at the top. This movie had a huge impact on a 17-year-old Seth. The whole reason I'm in South Korea right now is because of the lessons this movie taught me and I brought to heart. Lessons about being brave enough to say yes and accept that what I have to offer is worthwhile. Some of the bits and jokes feel throwaway at first, but the way they wrap back around by the end, everything comes full circle in a way that really mirrors the insanity of the way life can unfold for a person. This may not be the best movie stub in the list, but it may end up being my favorite because of the path that this movie sent me on as a kid. Peyton Reed didn't know what he was planting and incepting into my head, but I'm literally in this room because of it. To be a 17-year-old trapped in a cult, feeling like there's so much more to get out of life, and then to have someone that has been a hero in my life for my entire childhood. Jim Carrey is someone that has been on my television, in my VHSs, and on my movie screen since I was a child. And now he's on my screen telling me to say yes to life. Not only that, this movie doesn't stick to just a flat, shallow story. It also doubles down and talks about how to have boundaries and to say no to things when it's important to say no to things. This one also continues my war against Rotten Tomatoes because this only has a 45%. I'm sorry, this is too well written, too well acted. The jokes hit too good. There are so many bits in this movie that only can pay off because of the time period that it came out without ever dating itself. I was really surprised watching this as an adult how much of this movie stays relevant. Comedies often rely on pop culture reference to stay funny. Getting something that's funny in the moment, that's a really easy way to build jokes. Instead, this movie opts to have bits that unfold across the movie. In the beginning of the movie, where he's saying yes to all of the people at the bank that he's giving loans to, these feel funny and throwaway. A celebrity cake with ugly celebrity faces doesn't feel like it could affect someone's life. But because he's saying yes to all of this, all of these things wrap back around that by the end, when he's throwing a really important bridal shower, he has all the pieces in place that he needs. The Ducati that he said yes to that felt like a throwaway Family Guy cutaway gag comes back at the end to give him his chariot into the finale. There isn't a single wasted joke in the movie. They all have 2 to 3 extra layers to them that add into the plot. This isn't an odd thing for Peyton Reed either. He's an excellent writer, excellent director, really knows how to string a movie together, and in a way that I found the runtime did not overstay its welcome. This is a movie that clips along, stays breezy. Jim Carrey is kind of pulling back the Jim Carrey-ness of his performance to allow this guy to just be a normal guy. His name's Carl. Carl's as normal a white guy name as you can put in a movie. Even jokes like the Harry Potter marathon still apply to this day. I still know people doing Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings and Star Wars marathon. We haven't lost that part of our culture, so to see it represented almost 2 decades ago and be like, oh yeah, this is something we still do, this movie really hits. I think it's hard often to review a comedy because so much of it is based on how the jokes affect you as a person. I could absolutely see somebody not enjoying this movie as much as I could see someone loving it deeply and dearly like I do. Obviously, I'm biased. Like I said at the top, this movie so directly influenced my life. Check out this logic line that I can lay out for you. I see this movie as a 17-year-old. It teaches me to say yes to life. When I'm eventually invited to join a band a couple years later, I think of this movie. I think of Jim Carrey learning to play the guitar, and that's something I was doing as a teenager. At 17, I was 2 years into learning the guitar. Now I've joined a band. This band is a band that wasn't my inception initially. The lead singer actually left 3 weeks into practice, and the rest of the members asked me to take over. I took over, and the band took off. That band puts me on East Coast tours for the next almost decade, where I end up in Baltimore, Maryland, and meet who will become my best friend at a show. That best friend is the person that invited me 6 months ago to come to Korea. I don't get here without joining that band, without seeing this movie, without that person being added into my life. Things like that are exactly what this movie is showing you can happen. Don't overestimate or underestimate the bigness or smallness of a decision. Something as little as, yes, I want to learn to play the guitar. Yes, I want to take these lessons and put them onto a stage. Yes, I'm willing to go on the road. Yes, I'm willing to take a show that cost us money. It was a show that literally cost all of the money in my pocket to get us onto that stage. Didn't matter. These were little things that all just keep paying off into the larger building stepstones of my life. And this is a film that captures that essence. I love the scene where he gets sat down with the FBI to explain all of these crazy decisions, because if you look at my life and the things that I've invested my time into, you could argue that I had been radicalized into all of these crazy life decisions just off of one movie, where because of it, I've said yes to things like skydiving and swimming with sharks. I went skydiving in a Winnie the Pooh costume. It's on my Instagram. It was the only suit that fit me. I can sit confidently here a month away from 34 and say that if I died tomorrow, I've lived a fuller life than anyone else in my bloodline. It's exciting to me that movies like this can exist and can keep rolling forward. This is not on anybody's radar. This is not a movie that is going to pop off just because I've watched it recently. So it gets to stay a little sacred to me, and I get to talk about the personal connection that I have to it instead of just reviewing a movie, because this is more of my diary than anything else. One of my other favorite parts is towards the end when they're trying to really sum up a lot of the ideas, and he's in the hospital with the guy that sent him on this journey, and he's like, "You fucking idiot, I didn't mean say yes to literally everything, but because he did, we got all of these amazing bits." Jim Carrey getting head from an old lady popping those dentures out. I'm sorry, I've never laughed harder in a theater, and it hit just as hard watching it recently. I also really like the way that they play off the universe working against him whenever he says no to things. I don't know if there's ever been anything as abrupt as an elevator breaking because I made a wrong decision, but I can definitely say there have been aspects of my life where I've been redirected because I was not saying yes to something I should have been saying yes to. If I could go back and put my arm around 17-year-old Seth in the theater and be like, "This movie I can see is changing your life. You chase all of that," I would have been even more confident in the decisions that I made. But now it is hard to not look back and just be a little nostalgic for all of the times that I've been brave enough to say yes. I could go at length about this one. Maybe we'll make this an episode of the podcast over on the Patreon eventually, because I'd love to talk about some of the really crazy shit that I've said yes to over my life just because Jim Carrey will pop into my head when I'm faced with a decision where it would be easy to say no, but the story, the lore, the plot line that you get for saying yes. Man, I've been arrested in Kentucky before. I don't even live in Kentucky. I've got a chariot tattoo on my wrist that says "Long Live" because I just ended up at a house show they were playing with a bunch of fucking pineapples laying around. These are the kinds of stories that I can't express without them sounding like weird, dumb setups. They just happened because I was willing to jump in a car with somebody because they asked. Speaking of the Patreon, if you want to support this, jump over to the Ticket Stub Movie Club, where we're breaking down 365 movies over the next year. We're a tenth of the way through now. I also go live over on TikTok and Twitch whenever I'm editing, so check that out as well. I post on my Instagram when I go live with the link every single time. I also post story updates there and on Blue Sky. Our next movie is The Spirit, directed by Frank Miller. Samuel L. Jackson playing a Nazi is all you need to know about this one. I will see you tomorrow.